Good evening here on KM Activities, your home for the Comets, as well as Dodge County Wildcat Hockey. Can't forget about them, as the boys are on certainly a good winning streak, 7 in a row. And we're going to talk to a senior on the team now, the defenseman Isaac Rogne is joining us. And actually, I think this is only the second time we haven't had a comment on this, because Brody Lamb talked to me last year, and you're also a Byron Bear. But Isaac, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. We get to talk all about these 7 wins in a row. It's I can't remember who it started with, but I know who it was last. That was Faribault, and that was Tuesday night, 7-0 shutout win over them. And I think you guys only allowed like 9 shots on goal or something like that. So you're a defenseman. I mean, I bet you take a little credit for that, right? Helping Dale out with a shutout.
I'm actually a forward this year.
Oh, you are. That's right.
Yep. I don't know if they've changed it on the roster.
They have not. Well, anyway, I still know that you will take good credit for the win. You had a couple of assists the other night anyway. So besides the defensive part that you're not doing anymore, but you did have 2 assists. So what was the game like against Faribault? That's what I really want to know.
It was a good game. We came out first period. We really controlled the play. There was only 1-0 after the first period, but I think we had like 18 shots after the first period. So we really controlled the play and came out the next 2 periods, put in 6 more. So overall, it was a great game.
Yeah, for sure. Again, 7-1-1 is the record. And you did have 2 assists last night. I wrote down to tell me about those plays. Do you remember whose goals they were that you got those assists on?
Yeah, so the first one was to Gavin Giesler. The puck kind of just squirted out in the corner. Defenseman took me, left Gavin wide open. The slot just passed right over to him, and he was able to bury the goal. And then the second one was on one of Brody's goals. We were in transition. Blaisdell moved it up to me. I moved it up quick to Donovan. Donovan over to Brody, and Brody was able to go on a breakaway and put it past the goalie.
Anytime that Brody Lamb is out on the open ice, the goalie should be shaking in his skates. No doubt about that. I'm glad that you mentioned that you switched positions, because now I can ask you, why did you switch positions? What was it that moving from defenseman to forward?
Actually, I played forward all last year too. I started 2 games at defense last year, and then Coach Warden decided to move me up to forward, and I don't know, it's been history ever since.
Well, I know you guys had a big win last week against Mankato East, and I really wanted to touch on that, because how jacked up was the team ready to play Mankato East, especially after last year's loss in the sections?
Yeah, we knew there was going to be a big game, obviously. What happened last year, not the way we wanted to end, but I think Mankato East was ranked 6 or 7 in the state at the time of that game, so we knew it was going to be a tough game, and we just went in there and did our thing and came out with a big win.
Yeah, they had it was overtime, actually, 4-3. The Wildcats beat Mankato East. And for you this year, I have written down for 2 goals and 7 assists. I want to talk about your relationship with, now that I know it's forwards, I know that you've got to work with Lamb and several other ones. Giesler's another guy. So tell me about your relationship with all the forwards and on that offensive side.
Yeah, so my line mates are Jake Isaac and Gavin Giesler, and we played together last year. So coming into this year, being on a line with them again, we know each other's tendencies. So we got a lot of chemistry, and we're able to do a lot of good stuff out there in the offensive zone.
Yeah, for sure. Again, you've a couple of goals and 7 assists, and I know for your career, I have you for 3rd year on varsity. Is that correct? Yeah, you're nodding your head. Yeah. Good. So over 20 goals for your career and over 30 assists. So you've had a lot of success over your career. When did hockey kind of start to play a big role in your life?
I'd say my freshman year, 2nd year of Bantams, we had a really good team, and I think that's when I really started to take it very seriously.
What was it about the game, like just what you liked about hockey?
Well, I love scoring, obviously. Everyone likes to score goals, but I think just being around like that group of guys is that team. My freshman year is basically the varsity team now. We've been together for a long time, so just playing with those group of guys, we got something special.
I wanted to ask about the communication piece too, because some of you are wearing masks. I know some of you are able to wear that clear shield too, so you could do a little bit different things. But is it harder to communicate this year because of wearing a little extra gear on your mouth?
Oh yeah, it definitely is for the people that decide to have a mask, like with the cage. Um, you can't hear like as well as what they're yelling, so it kind of just sounds like a bunch of mumbling. So it definitely is harder with the masks.
Yeah, I wondered about that. I'm sure that it has to be hard. And the other thing that I wanted to ask about is the DC roster. Now, I understand there is a huge rivalry between KM and Byron in all sports. Doesn't matter if it's basketball, baseball, football, volleyball, doesn't matter. And now I know there's a few from Pine Island. You got, I think, one from Zumbrota Mazeppa. How in the world do you guys all coexist then when you're when you're in different schools?
Yeah, obviously there's a big rivalry between Bayern and Casson, but I think we know obviously once we're in that locker room, we're all one team. It's not Bayern versus Casson or Bayern versus Pine Island anymore. We're all Dodge County. So I think just when we step in the locker room and we know that we all got each other's backs and we're all one team, that really helps out.
Do you rib them once in a while, like especially the Comets? Because, you know, the Byron Bears, if you look up and down the stats, a lot of the goals are coming from the Bears, not the Comets.
Yeah, well, it helps when Brody Lamb's from Byron too. But yeah, so that comes up sometimes.
I just wondered. All right, well, tell me a couple. Let's do a couple of fun questions too. Do you have a favorite game that you recall in your career so far?
I would say either the Mankato East game last year or the Mankato East game this year, just because, I mean, last year, even though we lost, I mean, there's great atmosphere to play at the rec center, especially when it's full. Nothing better than playoff high school hockey.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. The atmosphere that day was electric, and I got to stand next to Steve and help him with that. And how about a goal or assist? Do you know?
I would say goal against Tartan last year. I mean, that was a really big game for us. We beat them like 8-3 or something. It was a really big win. I'd say having a goal in that game was pretty cool.
Who's your closest teammate?
I'm close to a lot of guys. I'd probably have to say like Brody, just because we go to school together in Byron, or
Yeah,
Jake Isaac, my line mate, or yeah.
Yeah, seeing him every day, that makes a lot of sense. And how about role models in your life? Tell me about a few role models.
I'd have to say my biggest one's my dad, just because I mean he's always pushing me to be better, and he's just shaped me into the person that I am today. So he's probably my biggest role model.
Well, tell me about your whole family. I want to know about
them. So I have my dad, Steve, my mom, Lynn. I got two younger sisters. One's a freshman in high school. Her name's Ashlyn. One's a fifth grader. Her name's Layton. Both basketball players. And I got a dog named Stanley.
Stanley. Well, that's new for a dog's name.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one. So you didn't pass on the hockey spirit in your family then, clearly.
No, my dad was a basketball player in high school and college. So, but yeah, I chose hockey and they chose basketball.
You didn't want to give the hardwood any time, huh?
No.
Well, you're better than I am because I can't even skate. So you said, like, you know I could never score a goal. How about your future plans? I want to know what you're doing after you graduate at Byron.
So in the fall, I committed to play baseball at a junior college in Iowa. So I'll be going down there to play baseball, and then I'll be majoring in biology.
Okay. Which school in Iowa?
Iowa Lakes.
Yeah. In fact, I enrolled there and went there for a year. You play in Emmitsburg or Esterville?
Esterville.
Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah. I think all the facilities are at Esterville now, aren't they? Or is the football field still down in Emmitsburg?
I think they're all in Esterville. Yep.
Okay, yeah, because originally I think one of them played down in Emmitsburg, but yep. So I was a Laker at one time too. You'll love it. It's a really nice school, and they do a great job up there. So, well, the Wildcats do have you kind of have state on your mind, I think, this season, right? I think that's kind of the biggest goal. You guys still talking about that in the locker room, trying not to foresee anything, but obviously pursuing that one big goal.
Yeah, that was our main goal at the beginning of the year was to get to state, and not just to get there, but to be competitive there. Especially this year, because I came out and said that if you lose, you're done. So there's no consolation. So we want to get up there and we want to be a competitive team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you guys are back on the ice, as I said, against Mayo. That's at 7 o'clock is the varsity game. The JV is actually going to play at 5, and that's a whole day of hockey because the girls are playing at 1 and then 3. So you got JV, then varsity with them. Steve Alvarado's calling the girls game. I got to call the boys game. We'll see how that goes, but I know I'll get some help. I'm looking forward to it. And this was a lot of fun, Isaac. I'm so glad I got to meet you, got to talk with you, and I'll get to see you on Saturday night doing what you do best, playing hockey.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Isaac Rodney of the Dodge County boys hockey team. And again, they play Saturday night. That is on Channel 1. I do want to make mention of that too, because the girls play tomorrow night, but they're on Channel 2 because of wrestling. We got a lot going on at KM Activities, but we have more interviews coming up as well. Those will be throughout the night, so looking forward to more of those. For Isaac Rodney, I'm Joel McCall. Thank you so much for tuning in here on KM Activities, your home for the Comets and DC Wildcat Hockey.